Assalamu alaikum, everyone. How are you doing? Juma Mubaraka. Well, I'm recording this on a Thursday. You guys are going to hear it on a Friday. So this is Malak, your financial educator. If you guys are not familiar with me, I have a platform on Instagram where I teach Muslim women about halal investing, budgeting, how to have conversations about money with a potential spouse. And I am doing a Q&A on my podcast today. So if you're not familiar, I do a weekly Q&A on my Instagram stories called Ask Malek Wednesday, and I get all sorts of questions. And this week I got so many questions about like my goals and confidence and relationship with Allah and dating, and I got overwhelmed. I was like, I can't answer all of these on my stories. So I reserved a portion of these questions to answer them in a podcast format. So I'm really excited because I don't really have the opportunity to kind of speak to you guys about these questions. Usually when I answer the questions, it's like in a written format. So I'm really excited. So we are going to go ahead and get started, inshallah. I answer are anonymous, just FYI. I get a question about this all the time, like, are the questions really anonymous? And they are. I want you guys to see like what it looks like if you're watching the video version of this podcast. You can see the app. I don't know if you guys can see it. It says from a friend. Okay. So I have no idea who is sending these questions with, and I do it this way because I think there are questions sometimes that you want to ask that you may not want to be associated your identity with it, right? You don't, but, and it's great because I feel like you ladies can get like really open and transparent and vulnerable with me this way. But also, unfortunately, sometimes it emboldens people who are rude to send rude and mean messages that attack me and my character and my credibility, which is unfortunate. But all that is to say, wallahi, the Q&A is anonymous. I have no idea who is asking these questions. So I also wanted to just show you what that looked like. So we are going to go through these questions one by one. If you're watching the video version of this podcast, I'm going to have the questions like up on the screen, inshallah, if I can figure out how to do the tech. As you guys can tell, like I'm still like really new into podcast technology and all that stuff. So one of the questions that I wanted to talk about was, I actually did answer this one during the Q&A, but I wanted to expand on it. Okay. Is how to improve your relationship with Allah. Okay. And this is really something that you want to do step by step. So I have experienced like a terrible relationship with Allah to one that I think is blossoming and flourishing now. Alhamdulillah. I mean, there's still some rough patches because Iman goes up and down. But I want to say that with your relationship with Allah, the first thing that you have to do is set your intention. Like, let Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala know. Talk to Him. Be like, hey, I really want to improve my relationship with you. I want this. I want to be a better Muslimah. I want to connect with you. Help me. And we do have a hadith that says, you know, if you walk towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He'll run towards you. So you'll find that your attempts to get closer to Him will be facilitated, inshallah. So what I will recommend is set your intention. Number two, start talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every day like He's your best friend. If you have a best friend that you would text about like even the small little things that happen in your day to day, like, oh my God, like I can't believe someone closed the door in my face, ya Allah, I'm so upset. Or thank you, ya Allah, for this unexpected person who just gave me fresh baked cookies and I wasn't thinking about it, but I appreciate the small gift that you gave me. I'm in a crowded parking lot and I really, really need a parking spot. Ya Fattah, open a parking spot for me. And it's just like incorporating Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala into your day to day is really going to change your relationship with Him because He will naturally feel like He's just a part of your life, like a natural extension of your life. And He won't feel like this foreign, strange entity that you're like, that I get to worship. So I would start with that. The other thing is, let me see if I can grab the book really quickly. The other thing is, I would highly recommend Gina and Yusuf's Reflecting on the Names of Allah book. It is so, so good. You guys can see it's a pretty thick one, but it goes through like the majority of Allah's names, and each chapter is, I want to say like 5 to 10 pages max. So this is really something you can like read a chapter a day to learn more about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and get to know Him. And I promise you, this will help you get to know who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, and you'll see how loving and merciful and compassionate He is, and that will make you love Him, inshallah. The other thing that I would recommend is tafsir. Okay, 5 minutes of tafsir. This is the tafsir I'm using. It's called Tafsir Ahsanul Bayan. I will put this in the show notes and in the video description, inshallah. The name, I actually don't know where you can get this. I got it at Jarir bookstore, at my local Jarir bookstore in Anaheim, California. But this is great because it gives you obviously the ayah in Arabic and in English, and then you have the tafsir afterwards, which is great. I've been doing 5 minutes of tafsir in the morning and sometimes 5 minutes tafsir at night. And really just like I only get through like a handful of ayahs. Like sometimes I fixate even on one or two because I think they're fascinating and I do a deep dive. And what I'm noticing when I'm doing that is I'm starting to like make connections between different surahs in the Quran and feeling like I'm understanding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more. So this is really also essential to helping you strengthen your relationship with Allah. So I hope those tips are helpful. The other thing I would say is get one of these prayer beads, or we call them masbaha, right? Yes. In colloquial Syrian Arabic, we call them masbaha. I think some of you guys call them tasbih, but that is what I would recommend. So inshallah. Let's move on to the second question, which is how have you leveled up recently as a woman? I love seeing your stories about it, would love advice. Yeah, so the way that I have leveled up as a woman in the last few months in 2025, I kind of am counting 2025 as my glow up year in many ways, not just physically, but also like emotionally and mentally and all the things. So the way that I have glowed up is a few things. I started taking care of my physical health a lot more. I'm trying to watch the what I eat, not necessarily restricting myself. I do have a history of an eating disorder and a terrible relationship with food in the past. So I'm not trying to go back to a trend of disordered eating, but I am trying to be honor my hunger and my fullness. So if I'm hungry, I eat and I don't restrict myself. When I'm full, I stop as much as I can. And if I'm at a special occasion or a party or going out to eat with friends, I don't really restrict myself because it's a special occasion and it's a good time. And I like to enjoy life, and food is part of enjoying life. So that's been really helpful. I've been pretty disciplined with working out 3 to 4 times a week. I do strength training, some cardio, and some Pilates. And honestly, seeing the physical changes in my body, like it feels good. You feel great. Like your clothes start to feel better, and it really does help like improve your self-confidence. The other thing is going to therapy and healing my relationship with my mom. I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but I'm sure all of us have either mommy issues or daddy issues or both if you're unlucky. I had a lot of issues that I needed to work through that kind of came bubbling to the surface in the last couple of years from childhood that I needed to address. And I think that has healed a part of me. And I think that has really helped me move on. Sometimes when you are holding on to so much resentment and anger, it really prevents you from like moving forward in your life. Going to therapy has been really helpful. Physically changing my style, the way I wrap my hijab. I really like the way it kind of is flowy now and is beautiful. Starting to get my eyebrows done. I know there's differences of opinion on it. I consulted a sheikh and I agreed with their opinion and their perspective, which if you are curious, the opinion is if the hadith is, oh, if a woman plucks her, and I'm paraphrasing here, if a woman plucks her eyebrows, then she is basically mimicking a prostitute, and that's not something that you should do. But that was kind of what the standard was back during the Prophet's time. I guess plucking your eyebrows wasn't a common phenomenon for women, so it kind of signified that you were open to that type of work back then. The opinion of the sheikh basically is that if this has become sort of the modern standard of beauty for women, and it no longer kind of signifies that type of work anymore, then it should inshallah be something permissible to do. So obviously do your own research, consult your own local scholar, but doing my eyebrows has been really helpful, and getting contacts, which has made me just feel just more confident in general, changing my style a little bit and kind of getting a little bit more sophisticated with my style and paying attention to what I wore. I used to kind of go for like just like what is most comfortable, what is most casual, and I'm trying to upscale that a little bit. And then trying to honor sleep. Like And I'm still working on it. Sleep is really hard for me because I do struggle with insomnia and I like to go to bed late. Trying to be really disciplined with going to bed early. And I did have to do some things to help me sleep. I use an eye mask now. I'm using there's an app called Better Sleep that I would recommend you check out that has like various noises that you can put on while sleeping. I do take trazodone to help me sleep. So those are the ways that I've up leveled, and then discipline. Just like being more disciplined in my life has really helped me. So like discipline with going to bed early, discipline with exercise, doing the tafsir in the morning, discipline with praying duha in the morning too and getting up for tahajjud, discipline with playing piano, which is also something that I've started too as a fun hobby. Like having discipline has been a game changer for me in my life. So I hope that answers that question for you. Okay. How do you keep hope that there's someone out there for you? I feel like I'll have to settle on something major, and it feels horrible to know I'll feel that way about someone I'm married to. It feels so insincere. I actually got a question very much similar to this last week as well during the Q&A. And the hopelessness around the marriage process and market comes from focusing too much on the reality in front of you and putting your trust and faith in that versus putting your trust and faith in Allah. So this ultimately comes down to what do you believe about Allah and how is your tawakkul and your yaqeen. So if you don't know what the word yaqeen means, it means certainty or conviction. Ultimately, we believe that all good things come from Allah. Also, we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created people in pairs. So if you believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written somebody for you and has created somebody amazing for you to live in peace and mawadda and rahmah or compassion and love and mercy, then that is what is going to happen. Because we have a hadith Qudsi that says, I am what my servant thinks of me. Your reality and how you view life is very much a reflection of what you believe about Allah. If you believe that Allah wants good for you, that Allah wants to support you, that He's going to give you the rizq that you need in your life, or the sustenance that He's going to give you, which a spouse is part of our sustenance in this dunya, then that is what's going to happen. And this isn't just a concept confined to Islam. Like, if you talk to a lot of psychologists, there is so many studies that have been done about how your internal beliefs and thoughts reflect your reality and how you view the world and how you move through the world. So if you believe that Allah is going to give you somebody amazing, then that is what's going to happen. Sometimes it can feel like it's not going to happen because we look at our reality and we're like, oh, I've had so many like terrible experiences with men, or the marriage market sucks, or men are trash, as the common saying is now with women among, with women in general. The reality can look bleak, but as Muslims, our hope is not in our reality. Our trust and our hope is in Allah. So if you look at the stories of all of the prophets, a lot of them got out of sticky situations or got what they wanted because they basically ignored their reality and placed their trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instead. So think of Prophet Zakaria. He made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was an old man. He literally tells him in the ayah, like, my hair is white, my bones are brittle, but I still want a child. And ya Allah, like, you have never let me down. And Allah gives him a child when he's like in his old age. And that is miraculous. But that's because he was like, I don't care that I'm old and technically, biologically, I can't have children anymore. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm trusting Allah because Allah literally created this universe. And if He says to something be, it will be. And so, same thing with Prophet Musa when he was with his people and the children of Israel, and they were fleeing from Pharaoh's army. Pharaoh's army was behind them, the sea was in front of them. His people literally said, we're screwed. Basically, like, we're done for, we're doomed, it's over. And then Prophet Musa's like, no, كلا إن معي ربي سيهدين. No, Allah's got me. He's guiding me. And like that's crazy. Imagine being in that situation. Like the sea's in front of you, there's an army behind you. It literally looks like you're toast. And that's what he did was he ignored the physical reality around him and was like, "No, I don't care." Right? Prophet Ibrahim, same thing when they threw him into the fire. He was like, "No, Allah's got me." And then Allah made the fire cool for him. Our mother Hajar when Prophet Ibrahim left her in the desert and she's like, Allah's got me, right? And she's like, he left her. Mecca was like, there was nothing there, you guys. Like, it was barren. no water, no food, not a human soul, not even animals, that she could see at least on the surface. To like be in that situation and be like, Allah's got me, again, ignoring your reality around you and trusting Allah. So with the marriage market, I don't care that the marriage market sucks. I really don't. Because your trust is in Allah. That is what it comes down to. And I would recommend you strengthening your relationship with Allah using the tips that I gave you earlier to strengthen that conviction, that certainty in Allah. And hopefully that will help you, inshallah. Okay. Alrighty. How to improve self-confidence. So self-confidence comes from several things. It comes from sticking to your word and the promises you make to yourself. When I said that, me being disciplined and me doing the things that I said that I was going to do, like working out or going to bed early or getting up for tahajjud or whatever it is, when I would stick to those promises that I made to myself, that improves your self-confidence because you're like, I can trust myself and I'm confident that I can do what I need to do. That helps improve your self-confidence a lot, like significantly. The other thing is knowing yourself really well. So when you know who you are, what your values are, what you stand for, that self-knowledge gives you a lot of confidence to move forward in your life because you can spot what you want immediately and what you don't want. This question kind of came up with dating last week, actually. Like, how are you confident talking to men? Especially in light of my recent attendance of a singles event in Dallas. And it's just the self-knowledge. I know what I want. I know who I am. And either this man that I'm talking to or considering for marriage is in line with what I want, or they're not, and I'm gonna move on. So I see Muslim girlies entertaining men longer than they should be, to be honest with you. Like entertaining men, talking to them for several weeks or a few months, and they're not exactly what they want, but they entertain them anyway. And it could be because of pressure to settle or get married or find somebody, which I understand the pressure is real, but I think there's also part of it that's like, maybe I don't fully understand what I'm looking for yet. Because when you know what you want, it really doesn't take very much time to just like weed out somebody who's not what you want. And that's how you don't waste your time. The quickest way to get to your person is to say no to the people who are wrong for you. So that's what I would say, knowing yourself deeply and then keeping the promises that you say to yourself. And then also the things that I did to, glow up physically, right? Body composition changes, the eyebrows, the contacts, changing of my style, all of that helps because you feel good. Okay, so I hope that is helpful. I do have a new money and marriage product actually that I released that helps you build your self-knowledge so you can build that confidence. It is called Confident Courtship, and it is a series of 5 assessments to help you figure out who you are, what you're looking for, what you typically tend to attract, what you want to attract, and some workbooks to help you reflect on these assessments and a community so we can have discussions about what came up for you and your reflections and any advice if you are talking to a guy for marriage. There are 5 assessments. So one is like we assess your personality and what makes you tick, who you're attracted to. Then we talk about your beliefs and your values. Then we talk about what's important for you Islamically. The fourth assessment is about knowing your money. And the fifth assessment is about, okay, what partner are you looking for ideally? So if you're interested in learning more about confident courtship, you can either buy the first assessment now, which is out. It's called See Yourself Clearly. It is the personality assessment. You can buy it by itself, or you can buy the bundle if you want all 5 assessments. They're going to be released the next 4 to 6 months, inshallah. So I'll drop the link to that in the YouTube description and in the show notes as well. Okay. I think I have 2 more questions here. All right. This question is, what are some recent goals of yours you would like to share and how they are going? Would love some inspo. This is a great question. I don't get asked this question very much, but I really enjoyed it. My recent goals are twofold, actually three. Yeah, three. Number one is to grow my business. I am in the process of scaling my business, hoping to take it to, in the past, my business has crossed six figures, alhamdulillah, all praise and thanks due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I want to get to a point where we are crossing multi six figures in a year, inshallah. And I want to state that because it's important for me as a financial educator to show that it is okay as a woman to pursue wealth, but wealth for the sake of Allah, right? For the sake of taking care of myself, taking care of my family, being generous with my friends and my family and my community. And I do have dreams of establishing a waqf. And if you don't know what a waqf is, it's an endowment to raise scholarships for Muslim students so they don't have to take out riba or loans for their education. So I was very, very fortunate that at the time when I went to school, my family was income was low enough where I could get grants and have my degree be fully funded. And I want to give back because I know the struggle is real. And inshallah, I can establish that wealth. That's probably a longer distance dream, but I want to get my business to a point where it could sustain an endowment like that, inshallah. So there is no shame in pursuing wealth as a Muslim woman, as long as your intentions are noble, inshallah. So working on scaling the business, working on securing more brand deals and partnerships, getting more speaking engagements, growing my Instagram quite a bit because a larger Instagram means more opportunities, more potential clients, etc., etc. So that's my number one goal. My second goal is wanting to feel really good in my body. So body composition changes, being really consistent and more refined with the workouts that I do now so that I can hit specific goals and kind of wanting to hit certain goals when it comes to weightlifting and whatnot and cardio as well. So that's my second goal. And then my third goal is to find my husband, quite frankly. I'm single and ready to mingle. I am turning 29 this year on October 18th, and I have very much enjoyed being single. I have lived it up in my 20s. I think I did right by my 20s. I got to move out a few times. I studied abroad in the UK, got my master's degree. I started my business. I traveled, and I have no regrets about my 20s, but I'm feeling like I want to be partnered and quote unquote settled down in my 30s. So I, would like to ideally find my person in the next year or so. So that is my goal, inshallah. Obviously, that is all related to Allah's timing, but we will see. Okay. And then this is the last question that I'm going to answer. Honest thoughts on the recent matrimonial event you went to. Would you go again? So if you aren't familiar, I went to a Muz event in Dallas recently, and it was a huge singles event. There were like 500 people, and it was unstructured. They just gave us like a bingo card, and they told us to like go find somebody who met one of these categories that they created, like, oh, I can speak Japanese, or I've traveled to 3 countries, or whatever. And it was really intimidating to really like put yourself out there. I consider myself an extroverted introvert, so I'm not really like the most extroverted person out there, but I'm also not the most introverted either. But it was still really intimidating to like just be like, hey, just have anybody just come approach you or be approached by anybody. I do wish there was more structure, and I have given this feedback to Muz, and I was able to talk to them. I wish there was a little bit more structure to kind of help facilitate conversations. And I do wish it was a little bit more age specific because I was approached by older men that are not in the category or age range of men I would consider for marriage at this current point in my life. I'll be honest and say I feel like I would go again. And here's why. I will go again because I feel like the in-person experience is really different. You consider people that you probably wouldn't have considered online, and they would consider you if they don't consider you online. So I have tried the apps before. I've even been on in pairs, and I feel like I don't like thrive in the dating apps. I don't feel like and I don't want to use this word like, I don't want it to come out like I'm a pick me girl, but like I don't get quote unquote chosen, and I don't. Probably because, and again, I hate using this word because I don't believe women are in competition with other women for men. But I do think that on the apps, I am quote unquote in competition with women, like when it comes to men liking my profile, because men are visual creatures, women who are probably slightly just a little bit more maybe high maintenance than I am when it comes to their physical look, right? So women who probably wear makeup, even women who don't wear hijab. I just don't feel like I thrive because I don't have the most aesthetic photos. I don't wear makeup. I wear hijabs. In the in-person experience, I got to learn a lot about, oh, like your preferences online might be different in person because I was approached by men, or even the men that I approached, they were probably not men I may have gone for online, or they may not have gone for me based off of how I represent myself in my photos. And I think there is something to be said about just seeing people in like a 3D physical reality that might make you consider them. So things that like I usually get a little hung up on, like maybe like height or even looks. When I saw people in person, I was like, oh, actually, like I don't mind. I could consider this. And I think the same for them. So I would go again because you might consider people that you might miss out on online. And then number two is it really forced me to grow some courage and grow some balls. So I had to really step out of my comfort zone and really approach men that I thought I was interested in and like sustain a conversation with them with confidence. And I feel like my confidence has shot up so much more after the event. I feel like a rock star. Like I feel somewhat unstoppable. And it made me be like, you know what? Approaching men and quote unquote dropping the handkerchief and letting men know that you're interested, it's not a bad idea. And when men are interested in you, even if you give them the first sign, they will still pursue you. So that was always kind of my fear, like, oh, if I reach out to a man first, will he like want to, will he take leadership and want to pursue things? And they will if they're interested. Yeah. So you just got to do the classic old dropping the handkerchief and letting them know that you're interested. So, send the DM first. Let someone know that you're interested through a third party. Go to these events, approach a man. Yeah, it was a good experience. I might consider somebody that I wouldn't consider otherwise. And I really, really can see how people can connect from these events. At the end of the event in Dallas, there were a few people who sectioned off and were like coupled off basically and started talking more deeply and more in depth. And I'm like, you know what? I could see it because I almost pursued something with somebody. But again, because I know myself and I know who I want and what I want, there was just kind of one thing that I couldn't really negotiate on and I had to decline moving forward with him. But I can see how you can connect with someone. So I wouldn't write off singles events. I think they do have to be done right, though. I think the Muzz event was done in a way that is typically better than I would say masjid events because I've heard those are extremely uncomfortable and awkward. They are working on improving and doing more like age-specific events, inshallah, according to them, as well as smaller events that are more structured. So I would definitely consider going to one of those in the future. All right, so those are the questions that I reserved from the Q&A on Wednesday this week. I hope this was beneficial. I hope this was helpful. If you want to join Confident Courtship, I would love to have you join. The link is in the show notes. And let me know if you guys want me to do more of these like Q&As podcast style. I'm getting to a point actually where I'm just getting way more questions than I can answer during the weekly Q&As, and I am considering maybe reserving some of these questions moving forward for a podcast just because it's too much to answer on my Instagram stories. All right, ladies, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll talk soon, inshallah.